Today I want to make a quick-ish video where I will predict the winner of All-Stars 11 based on what we have seen so far. When I do this for regular seasons, I have a list of criteria that I follow to determine who the show is telling us might win a season, but it's not really applicable to All-Star seasons, especially with this kind of an All-Star season that has a very unorthodox competition style. So I'm just basing my prediction on the edit that the top 6 received. There will be no spoilers for this video, I do not look at spoilers, and I would appreciate it if you did not leave any in the comments below. But speaking of comments, other than leaving one, if you want to support the channel, you can like this video, subscribe of course, and if you want, you can become a member of the channel, where you would have seen this video before the rest of the viewers, and you would also have access to some exclusive content. If you've been following the season, you would know that it's actually not a top 6. It's a top 8, with Jasmine advancing from the 3rd bracket and one more queen being brought back from the eliminated 11 queens. Now you would think that Jasmine could win the season, given how much screen time she gets and given that Vru and the production quite literally handpicked her to be in the semifinals, even though competition-wise, she did not deserve it. Argue with the wall. If the save 4 queens had wanted to send somebody into the semis, it should have been Hershey. I don't think that they were ready for her to do so well, but I digress. However, I think the production saw the backlash that they received after Ginger's win last season, which was very production meddling heavy. And I think that they would want to avoid crowning anyone for whom the production meddling is so obvious. And before anyone asks, why is it obvious in Jasmine's case? Let me ask you, why didn't Morgan advance in bracket 1? Why wasn't there a tie in bracket 1? Why was Morgan eliminated? She was a better competitor than Akiria and Jasmine, and yet still, Vru and production chose Akiria over her, because production meddling. Back to the other queen that's going to be in the semis, we technically still don't know who it is going to be, but given that we did see this shot of the ball, and we couldn't even see a sliver of an N in Morgan's name or an A in Selena's name, I'm assuming that this was Joy's ball that they picked. I'm also thinking this because of Vru and Michelle's reactions, but it could have been just like a dummy ball with nothing written on it, and they just pulled some movie magic on me. Either way, whichever queen is brought back, she's not winning this season, because that has literally never happened, and it shouldn't ever happen. So, the top 6. Immediately, I will disqualify 2 queens, Starr and Kennedie Davenport. Kennedie is a fantastic competitor, but she wasn't really shown during her bracket. Not only that, but she also does not have much of a story going into the season. If her story is that she has already lost 3 times, then they should have made it more explicit, like with Silky. However, it does seem like Kennedie is just there to do a gig, pretty much, which is fair, like she's a legend and she doesn't really need a win to cement her legacy further. Starr, on the other hand, I mean, Vru and the production literally said, no, you might have done really well in the competition, but this one over here cried every single episode, so she's coming with you to the semis. They literally would not let Sam bask in her top placements. They had to have her share a win, just like Trinity the Tug did. Thankfully, she did not get the Morgan treatment of being eliminated after doing better than 4 other queens in her bracket, but hey, this is still not a good look. That leaves us with 4 possible contenders, out of which I can see 2 of them winning. Dawn, sadly, is giving me strong Irene the Alien vibes. She wowed us during the brackets, but she's just going to be mid when there are actual stakes in the competition. They even had similar edits in how they were presented, albeit with Dawn's story not being, oh, you were the first eliminated, but rather, you were just kind of safe a lot on your season. Plus, Dawn winning another lip sync? That's a likely story. And I love Akiria, but again, we're going back to the production meddling thing. And would the audience turn a blind eye to the production pushing Akiria into the semis? Maybe, because I don't think I've ever seen anyone say that they dislike Akiria. But would the audience respond well to her win? Maybe. Again, like, it's not defined. On top of that, Akiria isn't very competitive. She's cool, you know, probably the first cool queen since, like, I don't know, Pearl? But does she have much of a winner storyline? Not really. However, Silky and Crystal do. Both of them have a similar story of changing as people from their first seasons, which also made them change as competitors. Silky was aware of how she was on season 11, and she really moved on from that way of presenting herself. Whereas now, she's much more calculated and layered. If you've been watching my channel since the early days, you know how much I disliked Silky on her season, and you might be surprised by how much I love her now. Genuinely, she's my pick for the crown, as in, if you ask me who I want to win, the answer is Silky. However, I think that Crystal has a better chance at winning. She's quite similar to how she was on season 12, but now there's so much more confidence to her. She's not spectacular in any challenges, but she's a very good competitor. RuPaul's weird crush on her from season 12 has now developed into full-on love. And at the end of the day, it is RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. So I would be a fool not to assume that Crystal is prepped for the win. Even her lip syncs have got better, so if it is a Lollapalooza finale, she might be able to pull it out in the end. So, if I were to make a hierarchy of who's most likely to win All Stars 11, at the very bottom we would have the random returning queen, then it's Jasmine, Samantha, and Kennedie. Above them we have Dawn, Donald Trump, and Akira, and most likely to win, I think it's between Silky and Crystal.